Hey everyone, it's Hannah Fletcher. Welcome back to Muse. We are speaking with Gabby Chappel. I am so excited to talk to you. First of all, congratulations. I know that life has been really busy for you lately, but how are you doing? How's everything been? Let's just start there.
That's it's funny because it wasn't busy for a long time. The anticipation and my when, right before the show starts airing, it's like you're just kind of in your own little bubble. And so now that it's kicking off, things are picking up, but really most of it is just kind of me eager to, connect with people and get things going and sort of stay busy as all this excitement is happening. And so right now I'm focusing on getting some pop-ups going. So I have a pop-up coming up in a week, and really like a pop-up is just kind of having my own restaurant for a night and giving people the opportunity to try my food. And so that's top of mind. And otherwise, I'm just kind of trying to continue to create and engage people and teach people a little bit more about the kind of food I love.
That's it. First of all, that's incredible. I totally relate to like that whole lull before the storm that you never get, I feel like in this industry. It's never like consistent. It's either you're slammed or you're in waiting. You never have that like really consistent schedule. You're never like, oh yeah, Tuesday I have one thing. It's like you have 10 things at once or nothing at all, I feel like. So
Hmm.
congratulations on all of that. I'm so excited for you. Um, First of all, I want to talk about we'll get into the pop-up in a little bit, but where did your love of cooking originate from? And I noticed too that like it seems like you have a hosting background, which I think is great. And I can tell because you're so wonderfully like well spoken and you can speak to camera very well too. So talk to me also about like how that kind of translated into where you are today and your love of cooking as well.
I think it weirdly overlaps in sort of a way that I never expected. I really ended up going to school for journalism, and so I that was kind of my dream coming out of school, was to become a reporter. I tried my hand. I worked more on the production end for a little while, but then after I ended up getting out of the production side of things, I really missed sort of being on camera, and so I started seeking hosting opportunities. So I ended up doing some hosting with athletes and interviewing different athletes and doing some red carpet stuff and working sort of like moonlighting in the background of some of the other things I was doing. And that's sort of, I was taking whatever jobs I could kind of find in that realm. And so it was just kind of a random casting website that led me to find Epicurious. And I ended up being one of the talent on the Epicurious YouTube channel. And it's a really chill gig. I think people think that it was like a full-time job, but it's like I'd go in once a month maybe to, be on this show. But really ultimately being on that show is what made me remember how much I really loved cooking. And like being there was when I felt my most true self and when I felt the most engaged and just excited about what I was doing. Like no matter all the other hosting and this, that, and the other thing, like that was when I was like able to speak this language that I forgot I knew. And I think as time went on, I really had been able to reflect on the fact that, like, wow, actually, I cooked with my family so much growing up. And I would spend weekends with my grandparents just canning beets and making bread and like a lot of people I realized didn't do that. And for me, I thought it was like everyone just would hang out with their family and cook and bake and whatever. And so it definitely brought me back to a lot of those memories and like moments in my life where I could very specifically point to the fact that I loved cooking. And even through high school I would always take the cooking classes, and even in college I cooked almost all my own food, which is like not exactly common to do when you're in college. And so really kind of being on camera and hosting and being back in Epicurious made me realize that this is what I wanted to do. And that's when I kind of was like, all right, this is the thing I want to do, and I'm just going to go for it.
That's incredible. I love that I can feel your love of what you do emanating off of you when you speak about it. But also, I think it's really great when you have the opportunity to kind of have that aha moment where you're able to really combine several passions. Like not a lot of people have that situation kind of occur, especially not in this industry. I feel like it's either a happy accident, especially with like content creation nowadays. It's like I accidentally went viral. Maybe they didn't mean to, and now it's like, well, what do I do with this? I should leverage it. Let me leverage it. There's so many different tales that you hear. So I love yours though, because you're saying about how you found this love and then how you have this other love, and now you're able to have the perfect storm, and on top of it you're paying homage to your family. And I think that that's even just so beautiful and so remarkable, because that's like divine alignment in my opinion. I mean, what else could you ask for in terms of like how you're feeling when it comes to knowing you're exactly where you need to be and doing what you need to do? So again, congratulations on all that. That's phenomenal. I love
Thank
that.
Thank
uh,
you so much. Yeah, it feels
yeah.
really good. And I'm happy that it's so intentional. It feels really nice to know that it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
It's been like my whole life in the making.
Beautiful. I'm curious to know. So fast forward to now, you have Next Level Chef on the docket. You're sitting on this project, you're sitting on your hands and you're keeping your mouth shut for as long as possible because you have to. Take me back in time to when you found out that this is your next endeavor. Like what did this look like for you? What did this moment look like for you? Fans, friends, family, like how did everybody react? Like what was this like for you? And then obviously, how's the journey being able to kind of like embark and watch everything now, and just take me back. I'm so curious. It's such an honor for you. I'm so excited for you.
It's it's so funny because when it first sort of floated across my plate, which it was, a friend of mine from school. She ended up like from Penn State. We met freshman year. She's like a casting agent now, and that's like she was like, "Hey, I'm working on this show. Any chance you'd want to be on?" And I was like, coincidentally, she asked me last year, and I said no. I was like,
That's
eh.
funny.
So there is like a weird off chance that I could have been on season two,
Mhm.
but she was like, "Hey, I'm on it again. It may be the last time. What do you say?" And I was like, "You know what? Why not?" And then you go through the whole process, and that takes months and months and months, and then just kind of like, should I do it? And really, I've never seen myself on like I don't know, maybe I have seen myself on reality TV, but like a cooking show, like it was hard to kind of overcome that hurdle of, is this the thing to do, especially when I had a lot going on. Like this summer I had some really successful pop-ups. I was on a roll, and it's like, do I want to kind of like break this momentum right now to do this? And then I go through the experience, and it was just so like fulfilling to like challenge myself in that way. And now, the second I was able to really share it with the world, like the reactions, like you said, like it's just, I never expected it. Like I come from a town of 4,000 people in the middle of Pennsylvania where everybody knows everybody.
Mhm.
And like just hearing my dad be like, "Yeah, I went to the dentist today and he saw you on TV and he said you were so great." And he just, he's like, everyone's reaction has just been like, "A girl from Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania is on a Gordon Ramsay show?" Like, wow. I never would have thought someone from our town would have made it. Like this is like verbatim, like the reactions I'm getting. And so it's funny because I live in New York and I have so many friends that are doing beautiful and incredible things. And so it is really nice to, have those moments of people from my hometown just kind of reflecting in that way, because it's like, yeah, man, I am a kid from the middle of nowhere who's on this show, and they get to watch, and it's a really beautiful thing. And so it's been very fun to have that sort of recognition from, the people that mean the most to me in this whole thing is actually just ended up being the people from my hometown, which I didn't really anticipate. But to me, their reaction just feels the most heartfelt.
That's incredible. My family is from Pennsylvania, like the Johnstown area, which no one's ever heard of. So
I know it. Yep.
I'll tell them. Oh my God, I'll tell them. They'll be so excited. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, so I completely empathize and understand where you're coming from. It's so neat when you can turn around and give it's not that you have to give hope to the hometown, but like, when it's a small town and not a lot of people come out doing things quite like this, it's an honor and it's a privilege, and it's even better. I love the fact that you're turning around, that you're recognizing it, and that like that fills your cup, because I think that that's so important, and it's important for those people to see that the Hollywood side of things, especially when you deal with certain areas of the country, it's very often that they'll kind of speculate certain things of this industry. So it's really nice to be that person to kind of change their mind and show them that this industry can be very pure and very good and based off of hard work and merit as well. And I love that you are standing for that and that you're able to do that for them. That is so important. And oh, I love that so much. I'm literally like got a tear in my eye because I
Oh,
just understand. I think it's so great.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
When you
wonderful.
feel like you've made it, I feel like it means it's like you've just had to come so much further than, and props, anyone who grows up in New York City, like, oh my God, I can't imagine being like one out of, the millions of people that live here to make it.
Right.
That has its own merit. But there's something about, even just getting to New York City that makes it feel that much further.
Absolutely. And keeping that gratitude, which obviously I don't feel like you are ever going to lose, you exude it. That's always just going to keep you so grounded, and that's always going to like be with you, and that's a part of you, and I think that that's beautiful. I want to ask you about this pop-up, which I think is so phenomenal because living out in LA, like I see pop-ups all the time. And I mean, I'm like I mentioned, I'm from Virginia. My parents are from Pennsylvania. Like the pop-ups weren't really much of a thing over there. Like it was like a pop-up, and then maybe it didn't pass health inspection and then you tear it down. Like, it was like it's not quite like the culture that we have in like LA and in New York. How did you go about curating this pop-up? How did this happen for you? What did this process look like? And obviously, like, do you think that this is going to be something that you are going to continue to do throughout these years to come with your career?
That's such a great question because what is a pop-up, right?
Right.
It's sort of this fun term that people kind of throw around. And for me, it was sort of the entryway into being able to serve people food because I went to culinary school knowing that I never wanted to work in the restaurant industry. Like I said, and I'm sure you can relate, like I've worked in the production industry, I've worked in this industry, and I feel like I've cut my teeth. In my early 20s, I've done the like sleepless nights, the getting yelled at by name the patriarchal figure of the industry, and feeling terrible about myself and the toxicity. And I was like, and unfortunately that still runs rampant in most kitchens in the United States. And I may be blanket state, there are so many, and I do know so many wonderful chefs that are doing great things and really trying and working hard to eliminate that. But just for the sake of not wanting to also work like a 9 to 5 job again, like it just never was something that called to me. And so it really like made me hesitate in even wanting to go to culinary school because I'm like, I know that's not what the result is. So like, what is it? What do I want to do? And so of course it's kind of taking me on this journey post graduation of working in food media and hosting in that way, and obviously developing my own sense of direction culinarily in that sense. But I think ultimately, if you're not feeding people as a chef, then you do feel a little bit empty. And that's the beauty of a pop-up, is that you will get the opportunity to do that in a small scale that's very non-committal, that it's just like a big party where you can sort of celebrate this idea that you've created in like in one night and one night only.
Right.
Or a couple nights, and that's the beauty of it. And so specifically for this pop-up, it was a very last minute decision. I was traveling and I was like same thing, and that like in between of like sitting on my hands, not really sure what to do moment. And I was like, I know what'll solve that. An insane amount of work that makes me always regret it until the moment it happens. And then I'm very grateful for it.
Right.
um, and so it kind of starts as like an idea. Sometimes I'm not kidding. I have like a dream about a dish and I'm like, I need to execute this. And like, I should share, like, why not? I've never seen anything like that before. Like, I should execute that because someone has to, right? So it's fun to play and to test, and then like to be able to kind of put it out there and see how people react is like very fun and very gratifying.
Most definitely. I'm sure. I can't imagine the amount of work. I know I thought about doing a girls' night at my apartment, and that'd be 8 girls in here, and that's about 6 extra than I'm used to. So I'm like, that stresses me out. I can't imagine. And the idea of going to Ralph's and getting like 2 rotisserie chickens and a bottle of wine beforehand, keep it simple. But like, I can't imagine the idea of like planning out a whole pop-up and all of the things that are required with that. I'm sure even like, I'm sure there's a whole health element that you might even need to like go through and like get everything checked off. And I'm sure that like the process is very extensive. So I tip my hat to you for just like coming up with it, going full steam ahead, making it happen. I think that's incredible. Do you foresee yourself having your own restaurant franchise chain, anything like that? Are you going to be like a Gordon or like a Lisa Vanderpump? Like, is this like part of your goal long term?
I think it's funny too, that note of, you know, juggling all of this. It strikes such a wonderful congruence with my former career working in production and being a producer, fitting all these pieces together, working it like a puzzle, checking all these boxes and being able to multitask like no other is has really kind of given me a lot of confidence that I can do these things. And so my answer to this question would have a few years ago been like, hell no, like I absolutely could never do that. Kind of settling into this. And now this is my, I don't know, maybe my own branded, like me personally, Gabrielle Chappel pop up that I'm doing. It's like the third, I'd say. And but I've had like a great an array of experiences of working with other people's and helping them and sort of organizing in that way. And so now that I've done it a few times, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit rinse and repeat, like anything. You just kind of have to do it a few times. And so I think for me, my legacy, big word,
I love that.
I see it existing outside of the restaurant space. I see it existing more in the education space and in the realm of teaching people and in whatever capacity, whether that's on camera or in person or at a location. But I do, and I have been saying that, my plan in the next, after like maybe 3 years from now, is to maybe have my own little place somewhere in Pennsylvania where I can live half the year, if not a little more, and I can operate as sort of like a functional space for education. It can maybe have its own garden and it can also feed people. And so it would be a bit of a hybrid restaurant, but yeah, I see myself sort of more in that space than, creating sort of like a restaurant empire, because I know I could never ever do what Chef Ramsay does. That is I think I seek a little bit more simplicity than that. And I have so much respect for it, but I think that, my path will lead me in a similar way, but maybe a little bit different too.
I think that that's really smart of everything that you said, because I think going on the track that you're on right now, it could be very easy to jump and say, okay, in the next 5 years, I want to start to build towards that empire, which in one breath is like no harm, no foul. I think that that would be a great idea. Why not? You have the resources to be able to do so. You have the connections to be able to do so. But what I love is the fact that you're also the way, in my opinion, from everything that I've seen from who I've spoken with out of the years that I've been in this industry, the key to longevity, the key to not burning out and not using that as just a social media term, which it so often is. It's like the key to continuing to enjoy what you're doing. It's by also honoring that piece of you that got you started in the first place, that catharsis that you have. So the fact that you want to take this whole opportunity that you've been given, and the fact that you want to take that and still honor that part of you that does love the Pennsylvania life, and the fact that you want to educate others and be able to give back in that way and still maintain your legacy, and then you have your name. I love the fact that like you're taking it in that direction. And that's the way that you want to go about things, because I think that that's the healthiest way to continue to enjoy what it is that you're doing. Not saying that the other way wouldn't work out. Of course, I'm sure it would. But I love that you're being as practical as you can and as realistic as you can to maintain your happiness and yet still have a career. I think that that's so smart and great mindset on that. I think that that's just brilliant. I would love to know, kind of wrapping it up here. Obviously, you came into this space because of your love for hosting, interviewing, speaking to camera, your journalism degree, the fact that you love cooking, and now you're here. And also social media has been a big presence for you as well. And you've been educating through the medium of social media. Now you're with Viral Nation, and now you've been able to sign with a team that is able to really help you focus on the dreams and the aspirations that you have for yourself and your career. What was it like signing with them? What's it like now having this team at the helm guiding you along the way? They're your collaborators. What was that moment like, figuring out that you could sign, and what's it been like working with them, and anything that you would like to talk about in terms of that?
It is the biggest relief for me because I think having someone who can allow you the opportunity to do what you do best and give them the chance to do what they do best and collaborate together, just the synergy makes everyone work better. And to me, that is just such a privilege. And I ended up signing in May of this past spring, so almost a year. Oh my
Oh
God,
my
that's
gosh, happy
crazy.
anniversary almost.
That's wild. And to think of kind of everything that's happened between now and then is so funny. And just the fact that, I'm coming into this space as I guess classified as like a micro creator, and so and proudly so. I have my humble audience from years of basically growing this sort of a team of people who enjoyed watching me on YouTube and then kind of just followed me on Instagram for like what I would refer to as, a 45-year-old woman's camera reel, just
Oh
like
gosh.
food that she made and some like pretty flowers. And that's really what existed as my social media for years. And so it was the boost I needed to have, specifically Kylie reach out to me and be like, are you ready to kind of make this next step in making content? And it took me a while because, you kind of do forego some liberties in making this decision of like, all right, well, I'm going to be a creator now. Like, this is my job. But then I had to sort of reframe it and tell myself that, but what I'm trying to share and what I'm doing is basically trying to connect with people in a way that I find to be, that deeply holds my values and that represents my values and the things that I find to be captivating, interesting, I'm curious about. And so if I can get other people excited about that or interested in that or open their mind in a way that they've maybe never considered before, then it feels very worthwhile. And why wouldn't I take that opportunity to do that? And so it actually is it's very fulfilling to use this platform and use specifically Instagram's kind of my bread and butter as a place to be able to grow that sort of curiosity. And it's really cool to have a team of people who have been able to encourage me and guide me in ways that I'm still really figuring out. Like, I'm not a seasoned content creator, and so and I hope that shines through in some ways. I kind of want to remain a little unpolished, but I I really love having people push me and handle the things that I have no business in handling. And so it's been a really fantastic experience.
Well, you have a very nice way, I will say, in terms of like for me, I would love to get to the point in my life where I don't sponsor DoorDash as much, but I do, and I'm excited to like continue to learn, and I'm getting into my later portion of my 20s, and I'm personally like from an audience's point of view, I want to start learning how to cook, and not just to cook for my palate, but to cook for other people's as well, because there's a very big difference. I like things a certain way. I know if my friend came over and ate the chicken that I made, she'd be like, what are you doing? It would be a completely different like scenario. So with your content, what I do love from an audience perspective is you have a very warm way. And even I wouldn't even say that unpolished is like necessarily the word. I think you have this humanity to you. And I've seen chefs where I'll watch cooking shows and they're going so fast and I feel a little bit intimidated by it. And it's like, it's not making me want to jump out of my seat and run to the grocery store and go get the items to follow along. The way that you deliver your instructions online on social media, I feel like it's very calm, it's very approachable, it's very welcoming. And I think that that's what it is that your audience is probably really resonating with and connecting to in terms of how you create your content and how you speak and how you present everything. It's not intimidating. It's like, I feel like I'm doing this with you. Let me pause this video, go to Ralph's, come back, and let's do it together, you know? And that's, I'm hoping, and I'm assuming that's probably the goal of your content, but like, that's what I like. And that's what I take away when I watch you, just as some feedback for you for what it's worth.
I'm literally crying, so thank you.
Oh, we both made each other cry. Well, listen,
No, yeah.
I have so much like enjoyed speaking with you. I definitely want to continue to keep in touch with you and to speak with you as your journey continues to unfold. And I'd love to give you the floor to plug any social media, any channels, anything like that. Obviously, where everybody can tune in and watch you. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I right now I'm serious. Sorry, that was so tempting. Like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I want to do.
That's
So
so good. I'm
thank you.
glad. Good.
But no, I'd say, the things that like follow me on Instagram at Gab Chappelle. It's gonna be sort of the mothership of everything. But I'll be honest, it's been hard for me to be able to translate that to a TikTok audience, but I'm working on it. So it's worth seeing my handle there, Chef Chappelle. But really, I see myself also getting more involved in the Pinterest space as we move forward, which is like the it girl that nobody talks about. She's like the girl with the glasses on who's like in the teen rom-com movie is like, oh, like she can't be beautiful. And then she just takes her glasses off and they're like, wow, she's the prom queen. Like that's Pinterest. So I'm really going to like, especially this summer, like I think that's going to be sort of where I'm sharing like a lot of my like curated, beautiful food photography and not me personally, but like things I'm styling and then the recipes that accompany. Like if anything, I kind of want to have that be like sort of like the little like the exclusive club. So I'm gonna make my Pinterest the thing again. So yeah, same handle, Gab Chappelle. Follow me on Pinterest.
Oh, I'm following you on Pinterest. I will re-download Pinterest. I
Yay!
Google it
Yeah.
all the time and I need to just put the app back on my phone. It's worth getting the managed storage.
Yeah, right. It's like the one app I open and I'm just like, I'm not mad leaving this. I don't have any, I just feel good. I'm like, yeah, you
Yeah.
know what? I do need a tattoo. Like,
No one told me that the next month is going to be a little bit rough, so hang in there. You know, none of the readers, none of those people,
yeah,
they're all over my For You page all the time. They're always like, it's gonna be tough, just hang on. I'm like, okay.
yeah, no, that's exactly. It's a little bit of a recluse. So yeah, that's Gab Chappelle. And then, any pop-ups I have in the city. This one is coming up soon, but I'm definitely gonna do one in May, my birth month, just to like ring it in. I'm turning 30 flirty this year, so I wanna celebrate with everyone. And yeah, so I'd say just keep an eye out.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, and I hope that we talk again soon. I appreciate your time and continue kicking butt. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you, and we'll be catching up again soon, I'm sure. Thank you for your time.
Yes, definitely. Anytime, let me know. I would love nothing more. So thank you for being such an incredible listener and for being able to interview with such a genuine like such a genuine nature. Like it's rare and I so wholly appreciate it.
Thank you. Now we're gonna cry. We're gonna get we're gonna get
It's just
we're
one
gonna
of those
get
days, girl.